LeetCode problem 2149, rearrange array elements by sign. This is a recently added algorithm problem of medium difficulty, and we are given a zero-index integer array nums of even length consisting of an equal number of positive and negative integers. We should rearrange the elements of nums such that the modified array follows the given conditions. Every consecutive pair of integers must have opposite signs. For all integers of the same sign, the order in which they were present in nums is preserved, and the rearranged array begins with a positive integer. Also of note in this problem, there aren't going to be any zeros in the given array. So in this problem, we're given an array of integers that will either be positive or negative, and we want to preserve the order of the array while pairing up a positive with a negative number. So the result of this input here is going to look like this. We're going to have the 3 and the -2 paired together. We're going to have the 1 and the -5, and then the 2 and the -4 paired together. So to get this result, my first answer was to loop through the array and place each positive integer into its own array and place each negative integer into its own array. So I created two arrays, positive and negative, and as I loop through, we took 3 and placed it here. We took 1 and placed it here. We took -2, put it here, -5, -4, and then finally 2 into the last spot in the positive array. So now that we have the positives and negatives split, I created a result array which was empty, and then through another loop, I just placed each number into its respective position. So we put 3 here, then on the next pass, we went -2 here. So we're going through the positive array first, placing 1 here, then the negative array, placing the -5 here, then the 2, and then the 4. And that would give us our result that we were looking for. And this is a fine answer, but we are looping through the array twice. And there is a way that we can get the same answer by only looping through the array one time. So to do this, the first thing we want to do is create a resolution array that we're going to modify as we loop through the input. And it's going to be set to the same length as the input array and just filled with zeros. And as we are looping through the input array, we want to keep track of which indice we're at for both the positive and the negative numbers. So as we loop, we're going to increment each value by 2 because we know that the positive indices will be all evens. It's going to be this 0 array, index, the 2 index, and the 4 index, while the negative numbers are going to be the 1 index, the 3 index, and the 5 index. So to achieve this, we're going to use a conditional that basically checks whether or not if the number we're looking at is positive or negative. In this case, if it is positive, we're going to want to increase the p counter by 2, else we're going to want to increase the n counter by 2. So let's run through this. The very first number is 3. So that's positive. So we're going to check where our positive counter is. It's at 0. So we want to put the 3 into the first index. So we're going to have 3 here. So now P is going to be equal to 2. Now we go to our second number. We have a 1, which is greater than 0. So we're going to look for our P index, which is 2. So this is going to go into the second indice. And so 1 will be here. We go to, and we want to increase P to 4. Now we pass to our next number, -2. This is our first negative, so we're going to put it in the first indice, the first index. right here. So we have -2 here. And we want to increase 1 by 2 to 3. Then we go to our next number, which is also a negative number. It will go into our third index. So it's going to go right here. -5. Then we want to increase our negative counter to 5. We want to increase it by 2 to 5. So on our next pass, we have another negative number. We are going to place this in the 5th index. So this is going to go right here, -4. And we can increase this to 7, even though we're never going to reach that. And then on our last iteration of the loop, we have another positive number. We look for which index we're at. We're at 4. So 2 is going to go here. And this is what our result is going to look like, exactly as we wanted it. And now that we have this diagrammed out, let's write it in code. So as we diagrammed out, the first thing we're going to want to do is create a resolution array, which is going to be set to the same length as nums, and it's going to be filled with zeros. So we're going to say let res equal new array that is set to nums.length, and it's going to be filled with zeros. Next, we want to instantiate our counters for positive numbers and also our counter for negative numbers. Positive will be set to 0 and negative will be set to 1. And at the end of this problem, we want to return our res array as our answer. So now we're going to type out the loop. We're going to use a for loop, and we're going to set I equal to 0. I will be less than nums.length. And we're going to increment by 1 at each pass. So we're going to use our conditional that we use in the diagram. We're going to check to see if the number is positive or negative. So we're going to say if nums I is greater than 0, the first thing we're going to want to do is insert the number into the res array. So I'm going to say res p, since this is a positive number, equals nums I. And then we're going to want to increase p by 2. Else, if the number is negative, we're going to add the negative number at the n index in res. So we're going to say res n equals nums I. And then we're going to want to increase the n index by 2. And now I want to check this with the test cases, see if I have any mistakes. Everything is accepted. So now I'm going to submit my answer. And we got a successful message. We got some decent time, but some great memory usage. So that's going to do it for LeetCode problem 2149, rearrange elements by sign. If you have any questions, if you have an answer of your own, or if you have improvements to my code, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks again for watching.